You walk into the boardroom, take your seat as the only technical person in the room, and listen as the executive team hands you a completely vague, essentially impossible AI request. Enterprise clients are eager to buy AI. They know it is powerful, but they are treating it like magic. They lack the foundational understanding of how these models actually plug into their messy legacy systems. The absolute worst thing you can do right now is fall into the yes trap. Smiling, nodding, and agreeing to build a vague concept without a strict specification ensures you will spend months building a product that fails in production. To survive this room, you need to manage the client and pull a realistic plan out of thin air. Here is a specific 4-step framework you can use to navigate this ambiguity and scope a minimal viable product that actually works. Step 1 is the discovery hold. Your immediate reflex as an engineer will be to start designing system architectures in your head. You have to suppress that instinct. Instead, interrogate the workflow. Ask clarifying questions to find out exactly where their team gets stuck on a Tuesday afternoon. You're looking for daily frictions and measurable business metrics. Do not bring up your tech stack, coding languages, or LLM jargon too early. Mentioning tools like LangChain or Kubernetes right now only confuses the client and derails the discovery. Instead, keep your phrasing focused on empathy and business process. Ask them to walk you through why their current workflow is slowing their team down. You know you have completed this step when the client completely stops using the word AI and starts focusing exclusively on their actual operational problems. Step 2 is problem decomposition. You have their vague operational roadblock, and now you have to turn that fog into a concrete engineering target. For example, a hospital client might hand you a massive prompt, asking you to use AI to fix their emergency room wait times. You cannot solve that macro problem as a single monolithic task. It is too complex, with too many moving variables, to just build an agent and hope the wait times drop. You need to shatter that objective into distinct, trackable micro-problems. Fix the ER breaks down into triage intake, bed availability, lab results, and discharge paperwork. Next, filter them down to isolate the single bottleneck providing the highest immediate value. Here, that means isolating triage intake. Isolating one specific bottleneck prevents analysis paralysis. It gives your engineering team a tangible, buildable target to hit. Step 3 is exercising product sense. You need to be ready for the moment the client inevitably asks for a feature that defies technical reality. They might ask for a magic request, like wanting your model to predict when patients will get sick days before they even arrive at the hospital. If you flatly reject them by citing hallucination risks or a lack of data infrastructure, you will embarrass them in front of their colleagues and lose their trust. You have to reframe your no. Translate your rejection around the client's own business goals, their deployment timeline, and their bottom line. Pivot the conversation by proposing a faster, high-impact alternative. Tell them predicting illness is a long-term goal, but by focusing on automating intake forms today, you can save their staff 2 hours per shift by next week. A successful pushback makes the client feel like abandoning their bad idea was their own strategic, business-savvy choice. Step 4 is proposing the minimal viable product. This is where you build the blueprint out of thin air. First, your MVP must strictly target the single, isolated bottleneck you agreed upon in Step 2. Ignore everything else. Second, you need to define exactly what measurable outcome will constitute success for the client. You need hard numbers that prove the system works. You combine the identified bottleneck, the client alignment, and the measurable outcome to form the final, actionable engineering spec. Completing this step means you pack up your bag, leave that chaotic room, and hand your team a defined scope ready to be built. You have just turned an ambiguous, impossible meeting into a clearly scoped project through empathy, problem decomposition, and polite pushback. Writing the code to deploy the model is the easy part, but exercising judgment in the room with the client is the actual job of a forward-deployed engineer. Here is your homework to test your readiness. Take a complex technical decision you made recently and explain it out loud to a friend who does not write code. Pay attention to their reaction. If your non-technical friend can understand why you made that decision, you are officially ready to step into the boardroom.